Okay, so I'm going to show you the first way of actually rendering pork fat. This is the easier way lah, okay? So what you do is that you heat up your pan first. Okay. You spread out the fat. If you see any big pieces, you might want to cut it up a little bit more. Now mine is a cast iron pan, so it takes a while to heat up. But once it heats up, right, then I turn down the heat to the absolute minimum. Do you hear it sizzling? Let it sizzle for a little bit more. So once it gets to a reasonable sizzle, right, basically turn down the flame all the way down. Okay, the reason why you want to turn down the flame is because you want all of the oil to render out and you don't actually want the fat to burn. Now as this is sizzling, right, let me explain that there are actually two ways of actually rendering just pork fat like that. One is the long, slow way and one is the fast way lah. And there is actually a difference because it's whether you actually want it to have more oil inside each fat piece or less oil. It's the difference between getting a piece of very crispy pork lardons or basically one where there's a little bit more oil inside lah. If there's a little bit more oil inside, that means that it hasn't been rendered completely throughout. And then so you get that lovely oil burst whenever you bite into one. So it really depends on what you want. So if you want that little oil burst, that means that you can actually afford to turn up the heat a little bit more and then just quickly render and then just take out lah. But if you want all the oil to be completely rendered out, then you need to go low and slow. Already you can see the oil is already rendering out lah. See? So you can toss it around so that it doesn't burn. Just once in a while, just stir it. Now I forgot to add that one of the benefit of actually going low and slow is that the render oil actually doesn't get to its smoking point, so it doesn't oxidize. So there is a health benefit to it lah, you know what I mean? At this point I will prepare a bowl. I'll put over here and I'll put all the I will put all the pork fat bits lah, which have gotten crispy and I don't think you can render it anymore. So you're going to need one of these to take out the fat. This one's a bit big, so I'm going to cut this. Let's see. It's also a bit big, cut. Okay, crispy lardons, so I can put this in. Okay, now you look at this piece, right? This piece is more or less rendered out lah. It still has a little bit of oil inside, but I think you can sort of put it aside. Okay, one way of actually knowing that it's ready is that, I mean, besides the fact that it actually gets brown, is the fact that you see these little bubbles here, right? The fat pieces are actually giving off bubbles, right? That means that there's actually oil still inside lah. So once it actually stops bubbling, right, then you know that it's more or less ready lah, you know. That's the other indication. Okay, it's almost done. A little bit more and yeah, should be able to take it out. Then what I do is that I'm going to pour this into this. Then there's a strainer lah. Okay, done. So those are crispy bits. And the reason why I strain it is so that any remaining oil, right, which is on the pork lardons, I suppose, they actually drip back down into the bowl, you know. Yeah, fairly crispy. And that's the rendered pork oil. See, that is 500 grams, not a lot, but it will fill about maybe one jar or so. Okay, so this is how I store my fat lah, basically. It's just in a glass jar. I pour it in. Yep, that's it. There you go. Pure rendered pork oil, pork lard. And so you leave it to cool and then you put it into the fridge. As for these over here, this is pork lard which you can use in any dish, whatever dish you want. It doesn't taste great on its own. I mean, it tastes good on its own, but even better if you just add a bit of salt. There we go. Then you mix it, and you're done. So you can put the pork oil inside the fridge, you can put this inside the fridge, it won't go bad. Maybe it'll last for about a month. Pork lardons. Let's try one. Oh. Actually, I could have gone a little bit more. Still has got the oil inside. Oh. But somewhat crispy. Oh god.